Hey y'all, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are designing Belle's Cottage. I also decided to place Gaston over here to kind of give it a really nice neighborhood sort of vibe, but if you don't want Gaston with this build, you can totally remove it and maybe do a additional farm plot over here. Also, as we get started today, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like, subscribe, and notify button if you want to see more content like this in the future. It really does help my channel out. Also, I did want to mention that I am planning to do another idea with these cottages in a future video. On my channel a few weeks ago, we actually started doing a cottagecore city. And if you're interested in seeing how the first version of this looks, I'll have the video linked in the video's description, but I'm actually wanting to do a fresh, clean slate on this idea. And lately we've done so many city core builds on my channel, which is not a bad thing, but I kind of wanted to break up my feed today and do something a little bit more natural, just in case if you're somebody who wants your forest to be completely cottagecore and natural, so nothing really structured. And I thought that this build today was a really cute idea and option for your valley. Now, even though we're approaching summer, I'm kind of shocked that they gave us this house skin so soon, being that it actually kind of reminds me of fall. The color palette is very fall inspired. So I'm just gonna match the colors of my flowers to the houses just to kind of complement them really nicely. But of course, if you don't want this to look as fall related, you could do maybe more neutral colors. So anyways, as you can see, I'm starting to make a cottagecore sort of pathway connecting both of these houses together. This is called the Rocky Terrain, and you can get this item from Scrooge's. You can also buy a customizable option from Daisy's Boutique. And for the next step of my pathway, once I get the main layout done, I'll be placing some dirt pathing underneath the rocky terrain to just kind of give it more of a color and texture. I feel like it kind of blends in with the Forest of Valor's grass a little too much, but if you want to skip this step, you totally could. I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on my pathway, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes when we start the next step of my build. Now that I got all the pathing figured out, we're gonna go ahead and start adding some greenery around the build. I'm gonna be very careful about accidentally hiding the houses with trees, so we're gonna space this out really nicely. One of my biggest issues with cottagecore when I do it is I'm so tempted to fill up every single inch with a tree. I have this bad habit of doing that, so today I'm gonna do something a little bit more minimalistic. That way you can see all kinds of angles through the build. Another thing that I learned today through this build, because it was actually pretty difficult for me, is to trust the process. Being that I was doing something a little bit more minimalistic, there was times where I felt like just deleting and scrapping the whole idea. And honestly, I am so thankful that I trusted the build process, because once I stopped overthinking everything, the build just started to finally come together. Cottagecore builds are honestly not my comfort zone. These are very difficult for me, and I tried to give myself as much grace as possible through this build. And I'm very thankful that I reminded myself that this will eventually come together. I just need to have fun, because that's the most important thing about building in Disney Dreamlight Valley for me, is to have a ton of fun creating and doing it. So this is just, again, a reminder to myself and to my amazing community to be patient with yourself. I promise things will start to come together once we just start having fun and not overthinking everything. Anyways, back to the build. We're gonna go ahead and continue working more on the pathway and detailing with greenery, and I'll see you near the end of this video when we do some overhead shots of how everything turned out. So here is our build progress so far. I know I said I would see y'all near the end of this video, but I just wanted to pop in and say real fast that I am going to make a couple of changes to the item placement that you're seeing right now. I wasn't really a fan of the sitting area that I had originally for Gaston, so I did make a little bit of a change over here with the greenery, but so far I'm really liking how this build is turning out. I think for final additions, we're going to add a tiny little gardening area in front of Belle's cottage, and then I'll do some overhead shots of how everything turned out. I'm also going to leave some spaces in between the greenery and the pathways that I've been doing so natural resources can also spawn, so this build will be functional. After all my final details, here is how the finished build turned out. I hope that today's build brought you some Disney Dreamlight Valley inspiration. As mentioned in the beginning of this video, I am planning to do a revamp of my cottagecore town, so you can expect a new video and idea on this hopefully in a couple of days. Also, before this video ends, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me as a creator. Just your support in general means the world to me. Thanks again y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you next video. Have a horrible day.